So, good evening, guys and girls, and welcome to the WoT Pro League Season 3 Matchday 5. We have some incredible games coming up, and to kick off, we will be watching Team WD against moreWot.de. There's a lot of DEs and WOTs in that one, but still, it'll be a great game to watch. Those two have been battling it out. And anyway, after that, an even better game in my eyes because, well, it's certainly one of the community favourites turning up. It will be Spale against WoT, who currently, if I'm not mistaken, are at the very tip-top of the league. So there's certainly going to be a real game to watch there between those two. And I know you know a little bit of history between them. So why don't you briefly tell us about those two? Briefly.
Well, okay, I'll keep it brief. Just going through the season a little bit, I'll say that Spale actually came out on top for a while, and then it went downhill from there. So that's a little teaser of our second game today.
Yep.
But back to our first, it's also going to be a pretty interesting one. These teams have been fighting throughout Season 2. Obviously, Team WD came out on top by quite some margin as well.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a grudge match. Who's really working their arse off in Season 3? Because a lot of things have changed. Some teams stepping up, some teams kind of shying away a little bit. So let's have a little look at the league so far so you can see what we mean about this. Because obviously there's a new king amongst us. WoT sitting actually at first position here. Only dropping one game so far. And I believe that was to WoT Pro, who actually are in third position after Team Dignitas. So a little bit of an interesting ensemble there at the top three. But it's still early days, bear in mind. And if you do look at the actual points, it's pretty darn even. All of them sitting with, I believe, 3 wins and 1 loss. So it's very, very close at the top there. You know, and I'm really glad to see WoT being up there as well. Last season, they weren't really, you know, a top 3 contender in my eyes. You know, we saw mousesports being up there a couple of times, Kaz and the crew getting into that top 3 position. Now it's nice to see a little bit of a fresh face, even though they are old dogs to it all. But what else jumped out to you about this? I think you can probably mention what we saw last match day, because that was certainly something that relates to what we've seen right in front of us here. Because WoT Pro now in 3rd, and someone called mousesports now in 8th.
Yeah.
That was a game to watch, wasn't it?
That was it was epic. It was simply one of the best games we've ever seen. I went to the 5th match where ultimately mousesports just threw everything to the wind and just completely obliterated WoT Pro, and it was just the most fantastic player we've seen on Himmelsdorf pretty much ever, I think, and it was really good to see, just because mousesports haven't had the greatest start to their season.
Correct.
They dropped one at the beginning, and it just seemed to carry on going. They dropped another one, and then they've just come back again, beating WoT Pro, the top dogs. It's good to see, but just because mousesports, they seem to have a really bad first few match days. Like Season 2, they had 7 match days where they were kind of up and down a little bit.
Yep.
They've kind of broken that down to 3 match days in Season 3, so they're improving at least. But that was amazing to see, and obviously you mentioned WoT. I think they finished like 7th last season, and now they're sitting in the 1st place position after beating Team Dignitas in match day 2, I believe. Another kind of teams that are jumping out a little bit, we've got Denova. I think they're going to be a top 6 team, no doubt, like in Season 2. Where they actually finished 4th, so that's good to see. And then we've got a second team for today, which will be Spale. They're going to be fighting WoT, and I think that's the real grudge match for today.
Oh, definitely.
And they're the guys that said, okay, we really screwed up in Season 2. We didn't manage to make it to Gamescom, and we're really just like upset by ourselves. So they kind of reset their team. They got some fresh blood in there, and they're really powering forwards through Season 3, and they've got 1 win and 1 draw under their belt. Obviously, that was to moreWot Planet Key as well. So they're not having such a bad start to their season. I think they're just going to continue improving.
Yeah, indeed. So if you do want to check this out yourself, you know, all you have to do is to go onto the WoTProLeague.com website and check it all through that. You can check out Season 1, 2, and 3, which is the current one we're in. And the thing that really jumps out to me personally is the fact that Team WD are in 10th position, and they'll be facing off, I believe, against 4th. But then again, we saw 1st against last, and that was the upset of this season so far. So you can't take too much into the rankings just yet, but it's certainly showing, you know, who's really stepping up early on and who's ready for this new season, who wants to make an impression first of all. I think WoT currently have the medal on that one, but still, everyone else certainly still has the chance here, as we are only into play day 5, really. So lots of movement can be made, and we're certainly going to see a couple of people changing position this day around. So I can't wait to see the end of, you know, today's matches and see if that ranking does change a fair whack, because I can imagine it will. But our thoughts aside, we've kind of had a bit of a brief discussion about the teams you will be seeing today. I know a certain lady who can take you through how you guys at home can get involved with us here at the studio and get yourself in for a chance of winning some awesome bonus codes and every other little goodie she can muster together for you Twitch chat folks. So anyway, I'm going to pass you over to the one and only Melly to take you through how you guys can get involved. So Melly, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you, Pansy. And yeah, welcome, thank you for tuning in. I'm Melly, and yeah, I'm basically here for you. The only thing you have to do is to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/WoT Pro League, and follow us on Twitter to come in touch with me, because I will keep you updated during the matches, even if you're not able to watch the stream. So it's definitely worth checking out those platforms. And of course, we're not empty-handed here, as usual. We have bonus codes for you at home. So I will put up challenges on our Facebook page where you have to guess the exact outcome of the following matchups. And you have to predict. Show us your predictions. And if you get the right outcome, and you might get a bonus code. I will be giving out like 3, maybe more, depends on my mood and how you interact with me. And yeah, so head over to Facebook and check it out. The other thing is we will be rewarding 3 tweets of the day. So if you have something to say, if you just want to share your opinion, give us feedback, or ask a question to both experts next to me, just head over to Twitter and follow us on at WoT Pro League, and tweet us something nice by the use of hashtag WoT Pro League. That's all.
Simple as that. So you heard it from Melly herself. Be nice, you might get some more codes. There you go. That's surely going to be appealing to you guys out there. So do make sure you get involved. We do love hearing from you guys out there in Twitch chat, because obviously we are kind of focused on the game, so you're our link to your opinions, and I love hearing back from you guys. But let's have a little look head-to-head between these two teams, because obviously we've kind of given you a little bit of background towards who they are and where they've been doing, how they're doing at the moment, should I say, and their previous results. But let's take us through the lineups of the individuals we'll be seeing going head-to-head, because it will be Team WD against moreWot.de.
So on your left, you got Team WD. We haven't really seen the season so far, but they've been making some good plays, and they've got a good win under their belt. So it's just going to be about how they can continue that, push that forwards. And against Team moreWot.de, they've really been doing well in Season 2, to say the very least. In Matchday 9, they managed to bring it out 3-0, and that goes for Matchday 20 as well. So some good results against this team, so we're expecting that to go forwards again, although moreWot.de, looking at that lineup, have got some strong players there as well. That could upset the trend. So for Team WD, we've got the team leader who always plays from the front, Mr. Chef. A World of War, Caxo's one. He's a brilliant player. Makizio's fantastic at T69. He also likes that 5100. David, brilliant T1 player, and obviously got Nicholas Black, who likes that IS3. So all in all, a pretty damn good, talented lineup from Team WD, and obviously Team More. Planet Key was also pretty sweet. We've got Seek, the team captain for that one. QQ, AMX1390 player, very good. And the whole team is really a team where I like to say they're all about the synergy, they're all about the teamwork, they're very close, they're very good together, but they just lack some of that, that individual playmaking, which I think they've improved a lot this season. And obviously a very passionate team, and they definitely want to do well. And I think a serious top 6 contender for this Season 3. So those are 2 teams, and the 2 teams have obviously started tank picking as well, so we can jump straight into that one. It will be Ensk as well, so we're going to be starting on the city map. Quite a lot of teams have been liking to start on city maps. Yeah, I think it's more just to do with consistency and being able to start on a map they're used to, they feel comfortable on. So I think we're going to have a good one here. So tank picking has started, double T1 from both teams, and then we got a double AMX 5100 from Team WD, T1 IS3 from moreWot.de, and an IS3 and an AMX 5100 for Team WD. So both teams going for the high firepower, the alpha from the IS3 and the high burst damage from the AMX 5100. And the last pick from Team WD is the T69. And the second to last pick for moreWot.de was the IS3 AMX 5100. And finally, moreWot.de going for the 5100 as well, so that makes it triple 5100, double IS3, T69, double T1 for Team WD. And that goes for moreWot.de. Apart from that, T69 has been replaced by an extra IS3 for moreWot. So going for slightly more, I guess, survivability and definitely good around the corners, but lacking a bit of versatility in terms of going towards the green side, be able to navigate throughout the map and coming from the sides, which makes a lot of difference and hence. But obviously that 50 penetration nerf on the T178 could affect that T69 play, as we've seen throughout the season. Hasn't been
Yep.
doing so well.
It hasn't been picked that much as well. It seems like people are trying to find a way to work their similar setups without it being such a featured tank. It seems to be the thing to my eyes, but I do believe they are ready, so let's give them the nod to almost get this one away. Quickly, with Ensk in mind, who do you think is going to get this one?
I think moreWot is going to get it.
So you're going for moreWot.de. Okay, well, just to be, you know, on the other side, I'll go for the opposition. I'll see what, you know, maybe they've got something ready and waiting, but let's get you a little bit of an introduction video towards what you could be seeing on Ensk.
Ensk is a simple map on the face of it, but requires the most skillful team play to play properly. Being such a small map at 600 by 600 meters, the areas of attack are confined to through the city, through the railroads, or through the green zone. The fearsome city side, often famed for its fierce firefights, the railroads and green zone areas are hard to play as they have many death alleys. The railroads provide little cover but good sniping locations. Tanks can shoot over and navigate through the trains to ambush and weaken the opposition. When playing Ensk, always keep in mind that teams may try and rush for the cap and not go for the city brawl. Also, take tanks that can both deal a lot of damage and react quickly to situations.
So, welcome into the first map. As Joe said, it will be Ensk, and we are seeing in the south the golden yellow moreWot.de against Team WD in the north in blue. So, it's all about that first initial start, and what are we seeing from these two?
So Team WD going for something a little bit unusual, although it started to creep its way into the tactics, going straight towards the green zone. Double 5100 played by Mikizio and Mr. Chef. Those IS3 played by Nicholas Black. And finally, the last 5100 bringing the total to 3, played by Dougez, and obviously 505 is playing the T69. On the side of moreWot.de, we've got them sitting around their cap zone a little bit more, which is not such a bad idea, considering there's a kind of a counter to what Team WD is doing. But it's quite nice to see that teams have kind of switched up a little bit. We saw a lot in Season 1 and 2. Ensk was all about the city brawl. Now it's more about the green zone. A lot of the teams bringing that one in, and the first couple of shells coming out onto QQ. He's down a shot from the T69. Well, that will give moreWot.de a little bit of information, and now know Team WD is at least focused down there with one tank, well, the T69. So how much that will help them is questionable. So. They're going to be okay, but they've got to be careful. Nicholas Black also pushing up in that IS3. He's got David to his right, and finally Bontus Kirk. He's going to be playing the T1 straight towards the left. Another connection, 1143. But moreWot look quite defensive right now, and it's not paid off too much for them. How do you think they're going to kind of bring that defensive style onto Team WD, who are being very aggressive?
Well, I've got to say, I really don't know. This defensive play normally starts paying off when they can avoid, you know, receiving that initial damage. They can stay completely focused, you know, at least keep their hand kind of held back a touch. But right now we are seeing a little bit of movement from Team WD. Nicholas Black and 505 both appearing down that 6 line. QQ, the only one really staying back. The vast majority of moreWot.de have gone towards that city center. Wu, Loser, Iceman, and Seish all over there. So I'm kind of curious what's going to be that initial breaking point here.
Yeah, Nicholas Black might be the first one to instigate that, along with 505, pushing about halfway throughout the map, going towards 2/3 in the IS3 and the T69. I think they're going to be okay because they got plenty of opportunity to reverse, but they could get focused out. And it's happened more than once. Like a 5100 comes from the right, a 5100 comes from the front, and it just gets all too much for the IS3, and it just gets blown away. First, the frag goes to Mikizio, although taking down Arjo in that T1. Not too big of a deal on Ensk just because of the way Team WD is playing it. But both teams are kind of split off. We got split push from moreWot.de going along the city, along the 5 line. And the whole of Team WD is more towards the green. Yeah,
but they are making a bit of a move now. Look at this. moreWot.de are going to be putting towards Nicholas Black. He's received the first shell. Oh, massive fire towards 505. He is down and out of there. Seish claims that one. Next focus is Nicholas Black, surrounded by the opposition. They allowed moreWot.de to just absolutely get behind them. Now, where's the counter from moreWot.de? They need to kind of regain their pacing and find Team WD now. Mr. Chef going low. Wu does receive a shell, 584. Merkizio receives one. And you can see them now folding themselves back around towards their own flag for the moreWot.de side. Mercuzio is pushing forward, 760 left towards him. QQ keeping eyes on. Loser pushing forward though. He's going to be the one trying to get in there in that IS3, possibly trying to line up a bit of a shot here. Doesn't get it so easily. The exchange comes back and forth. The flag is being capped, but the vast majority of Team WD are still going to be under fire. Mr. Chef, 24 HP. A strong breeze might take him out of this game right now, as Douglas Mercuzio are going to be standing by a bit slower pace now, but it's going to take one move from moreWot to get this one under their belt.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it anytime now. They know that how damaged Team WD is. As you said, Mr. Chef down to 24. Mercuzio's not doing that much better on the 121 now, so he's pretty much a one-shot now. He's very lucky by that 5100, but he will burn QQ down to 149. That was one tick because of the automatic fire extinguisher. But now comes the backup for moreWot. Douglas is pretty much the only one left on a decent amount of HP. In fact, 100% on 1.4k. But I think this is a push for moreWot.
Yeah, indeed. They've really started to make this one count. Wu has found Mr. Chef. Doug is really the only one left with any HP. Loser already hot on the heels of the other player who's trying to get back towards that T1 who has got the cap. Neo will just back out of there now. Mercuzio 1-2-1. Loser looking to land this shot pretty darn quickly. Not going to have a clear lineup on it. Siege has found Douglas, so it's only Mercuzio standing now in that 5100. Loser already waiting for that shot. Lovely connection towards the end, then right down that 5 and 6 line. And moreWot, I've got to say it, they looked really strong there. Their initial play, I was like, I'm not too sure of that. But they started to work out where they were in the middle section, down the 5 and 6 line, and they just folded around that city area. Lovely read of the play from them, I feel.
Yeah, I called it. I mean, the 5100 came from the front, another one came from the side, came all too much to the IS3. T69 had already connected a few shells. He was, in fact, reloading because he had been trying to shoot one of the 5100s.
Right.
So he was reloading. He was out of the equation for that team. I think it was even Siege. And then from that point onwards, when those two tier 8 tanks are down, it's very hard to get back in the game. You lose one, and it's already too hard. You lose two, and it's near impossible.
It's almost game over.
Exactly. And from that point onwards, it was more about moreWot just staying back, staying calm, which they did, regardless of a couple of tanks being on low HP, make the shells through the trains, as Joe said was a good idea in one of the introduction videos for ENT. So that was good play from them. And then from that point onwards, fold around, make sure you have every angle covered, including the cap on both teams, and that was pretty much game over. And moreWot, superb execution, good thinking.
Very much so.
Told you they'll be all about the synergy between the team, all about the tactics, and they played it perfectly. So yeah, good props to moreWot for that game.
Yeah, great start for those guys. Already sitting on a decent start here, but I've got to say, QQ getting 2.1k damage there. Really nice start from him in that 5100. He's going to be happy with that because you said it, a lot of these teams don't really have that one standout player. It's not like they've got, these brilliant players we see on some of the other sides who can just absolutely annihilate people, but they work as a team really well. So it's nice to see one of the players actually really stepping up individually as well as a collective. So we will be going to Himmelsdorf next. Now, we've already had one City-esque map, even though it was partially played in the green zone first of all from Team WD. But what do you think we're going to get on this one? Because I don't think it allows that sort of game style coming out that we saw on Ensk. It's a little bit more drilled in. They know what they're coming up against here. Who do you think is going to really win? Because I feel as though this just really comes down to those team tactics that, cool, calm, and collected when it does get to the point. Who's going to really enjoy that fact?
I honestly think moreWot's going to take it again. I mean, in Season 2 and Season 1, well, in Season 2 since they weren't in Season 1, but that was all about your open maps, your Prokhorovkas and stuff. So I think in that season they did a lot better against Team WD, who perhaps struggled when they had to use their light tanks in coordination, whilst moreWot's definitely the city map players. I think actually one of the best city map teams in the whole Pro League. So if I had to call it, I would say they're going to take it to 2-0 on this one, but Team WD, they're going to be fighting to get themselves back in. And I think, honestly, the kind of lineups are going to be taken is very similar, obviously. But the kind of play they're going to be making, I think it's going to be quite slow to start off with.
Right.
If Team WD push, they're going to push well. But if they do that, then they could. It's always a gamble on Himmelsdorf. On Ents, there's straight lines, and you can kind of back off into a bit of cover. On Himmelsdorf, if you go for it, you have to commit to it 100%. And that's what a lot of teams struggle with. But we can, I think we can jump into tank picking. Just, I think they're going for it now.
Yep.
But that's my call. Are you going for Team WD again?
Yeah, I'm going to back them. I don't know. It's so hard to call on this because bearing in mind, every single time these guys met up in Season 2, for example, it was 3-0s for Team WD all the way. Playday 9 and Playday 20 were pretty much repeats of themselves. So it's already a bit of an upset in that aspect, but I should probably learn by now not to go by paper results, because it never seems to work out that way anyway. It always seems to kind of throw it on its head. So I don't know where to go on this one. I want to see how they play it. I'm going to sit on the fence here.
All right. But tank picking has started. So T1, 5100 for moreWot and Team WD. We're expecting it all to be pretty standard all the way up to the last pick, where the teams might start bringing out that Pershing like we saw D-Nova do. I'm not sure if that was on Himmelsdorf. I think it was on Ents, but one of the teams took it on Himmelsdorf. It will come back to me later. T1 IS3 for More as a second pick. Second pick for Team WD is the T1 and the 5100. Second to last pick for More is the IS3 and that 5100. And now just waiting on Team WD. So far, so good. Going for the mix of the Alpha and the burst damage like on Ensk. Maybe looking towards the hill if they're going to pick a T69 as their last tank, but I think it's quite unlikely. Team WD going for the IS3 and the 110. Wouldn't say the 110 is a surprise pick.
No.
It's one of those picks where if you have a player that can use it well and has trained on it, especially with a more inaccurate gun, then you can use it. You can use it superbly. So that's probably the reason why they've picked that one, and it's got such good front armor as well. 5100 for moreWot, and now just waiting on Team WD's last pick. They've picked the 110 as their second to last pick, which makes me think they have something even more unusual as the last pick, but they're not. They're going to have a 5100.
Yeah, strange.
So the triple 5100, the 110 to provide that real brutish armor, the IS3 to do the damage, although it could be argued as even more brutish than the 110 from everywhere apart from the front. And moreWot Planety taking the triple 5100, double IS3, double T1. So they're going for a much more standard lineup. Both teams not going for the T69. I think that's going to be the theme for this season, at least until 8.9 comes out, if they do decide to buff it again, which I haven't heard that they have. So I think that's quite unlikely. But I'm expecting a pretty slow game for the first 2 or 3 minutes, just looking at these lineups. I think Nicholas Back is going to be playing that 110 along the banana, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, so guys, let's get you a bit of an introduction towards Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf is a city maps of city maps. It's a small one, being 600 by 600 meters. There are 3 routes of attack: the hill, the banana, and the train side. The middle area is relatively easy to push, however can end up in disaster as you can be flanked from every side. The road, often called Banana, allows for direct head-on assaults but requires a lot of resources. Both the railroad area and the road next to it are good routes of attack, being very open and straight. However, for those very same reasons, you can be easily caught out and taken down. The map features many densely housed areas, which provides good places for engagements and routes of attack. Teams must be aware of the various routes their opponents can take through the map, as well as the hull-down positions enemies can take throughout the entire map. The trick with Himmelsdorf is to catch an enemy tank unsupported by his teammates and then use that advantage to collapse on the entire enemy team.
So, welcome into the second map. We will be seeing this time in the North moreWot DE in that golden yellow, facing off against that blue colour of Team WD, who currently are down on map. So, what are we seeing so far here?
So, what we would have expected from Team WD, sending the IS3 or the 110, they've chosen the IS3 for the banana defense, the 110 going in the middle. Trying to get some shots out onto anything from moreWot going up the 5 line. And then on the side of moreWot, we've got quite a strong presence towards the 1, 2, 3 line, which just suggests that they're expecting Team WD to do a push just at the beginning along there. I don't think they're actually going to push up there moreWot. I think they're more of a banana push, although from the north it's very hard to push to banana just because of the way you kind of come out of the banana. Obviously, if you look on this side, if you come out of the banana here, you have got line of fire there, you got line of fire there, you got line of fire here and here. On the other side, you've only got 2 lines of fire, so it makes it a lot easier. So it's unlikely to see that, and we probably won't. So Bontot Skirk, if I pronounce his name right, it's Bontot Skirk. Yeah, I guess that's right. And the only Neo. Playing those 2 T1s, having a bit of a proxy battle. Obviously, the 50-meter rule is still exists in World of Tanks, so they can proxy each other as long as they're within 50 meters of each other. And then last T1 of David, sitting on the hill, trying to get some spots out. Although He won't be able to spot all the way down. He'll probably stop around here because of that T1's view range.
Yeah, but to stop you there, I've got to say it, moreWot are looking like they want to start making a move here. They are actually going up that 2 and 3 line. moreWot does receive the first shell, down to 749. 505 wants to get involved, and they are actually doing the damage in one big line of power. moreWot are absolutely annihilating them. Look at these 3 tanks, just one off the other, taking the shots, knocking them down to about half health. They only return fire onto QQ. So they are actually doing just everything they need to be doing, and they've made some great room, but where is the backup? They are going to be edging down across, I believe it's the G line. Iceman laying in wait. He's not too far away. Wu has found Bonto, so that's that T1 going down, who was laying in wait just over towards that 1 line. Mr. Chef now coming round 2. This is going to be interesting. Iceman's in trouble. 3 tanks now surrounding him. Douglas, Nicholas, Black, and Mr. Chef looking like they want to execute towards him. Fire now coming back through. Iceman down to 895. Where's the return? Where is the pressure? Team WD are being absolutely hammered. Iceman does get a good shell towards Mr. Chef. Down to 545, but Iceman on 22 HP, surely going to fall here. He's going to be rammed out. Oh, he has gone down, actually. Iceman saves alive on 1 HP. Unbelievable stuff coming from Siege then, doing everything he could to make sure that counted. A loser coming around towards Nicholas, Black, and Douglas. Maybe a mistake to go in by himself, but the clock is ticking. They're making their move. They are applying that pressure. Siege and QQ coming around from the side. They're doing everything they can to just pin in these 2 remaining damage-dealing tanks. That 110 and that IS-3 under severe pressure. Siege coming through does deal the damaging and final blow. Wu now focusing down Nicholas Black. 190 left towards him. Surely gonna be a 1-shot now. There we go. Siege will claim it. And an easy game for moreWot then. Oh my word, those guys just absolutely destroyed them.
That was amazing. Just a really strong push by them. I think I didn't expect it to be quite as quick. I thought they'd leave it for a couple more minutes just because I don't think they had as much information as they could have. But they kind of looked to the lineup, said, okay, the 110 is going to be towards the banana, the IS-3 is probably going to be towards the banana, so we can push up this line and see what happens. And they execute it perfectly. Once again, proving that if you take the initiative on World of Tanks, you'll end up winning the vast majority. You know, your Virtus Pros, your Team Dignitas always seems to do that. When it counts, and they did it well, to give them credit.
Very well.
Team WD couldn't really come back from it because the 5100s, they were on about half HP. And then when moreWot kind of flanked around onto the IS-3s and the 110s, which were segmented, so that moreWot actually split the team in half, segmented one section, segmented the other section, and then just managed to focus one at a time. And it was just really good to see that they're really executing the strategy. Obviously, a lot of planning, a lot of training, a lot of watching replays has come into this plan, and they just did it perfectly. So, GG.
Yeah, really nice stuff. And loser there in the IS-3 getting 2k damage for himself. So each and every time, one player is just stepping up. But I've got to say it, that mid-push to try and counter Team WD, you know, when they had control of the central line coming off of Banana, they tried to rotate in. Iceman went in a 1v3. He somehow stayed alive and held them up enough to allow the rest of his team to come around and actually get enough damage in one position to be able to counter it. And it was just beautifully done. So congratulations to those guys already, picking up map after map back-to-back, 2 in a row now. So perfect start for them here in Matchday 5. Certainly a turn up for the books. You know, on paper, they shouldn't even be doing this. Yeah, it's rank 4 against rank 10, and we're getting some crazy upsets. You only have to look towards that last play day. Make sure you watch that VOD back, by the way. That was insane. It's on the WoTProLeague.com website. Make sure you check that one out because it was incredible stuff. But anyway, we are going to the 3rd map. It will be Prokhorovka. Now, very different situation, completely different style of map. Is this where you think we might see a bit of a change up, where Team WD can actually do something? I
think it most likely will be. I just think they're the more experienced team with those AMX 1390s. I mean, you can see by the way moreWot Planet Key used the 5100s and the IS-3s. They've got a lot of experience. It's obviously the tanks they've grinded the longest, they've played the most. So I think that's probably why they're the stronger team. Whilst I think Team WD definitely love those 3090s and T69s, especially Mr. Chef and moreWot. So I think, honestly, I'd have to give this one to Team WD, just judging by their previous results and the way they play. But, you know, moreWot Planet Key been doing it so well, been executing everything perfectly, so you can't really knock them in any way, shape or form. But tank picking has started, so we can jump into that. Double T1 AMX 1390 to get us started. We are looking towards the Object 416, which you saw last match day used.
I'd quite like to see that coming in.
I would
really
love to
like
see
that
it
again. I think some people are clearly learning it a little bit quicker than others.
Yeah.
but it's definitely seeming quite viable from what we saw, just in the last couple of play days.
Yeah, it's got potential. I think nobody is really that good on it.
Yeah, we haven't seen that one player shine yet.
Exactly. It's not like we can say, okay, that is, I don't know, breakneck on the MX-3090.
Yes.
That is a new multi-share on the T69. No, on the 5100 even.
Yeah.
So I think we need that player to come in. And honestly, I think that'll be looking towards Dinova to take over, or maybe even Spale from the side of... well, his name just completely went out of my head, so...
We'll move on.
We'll move on. So tank picking continuing. Double T69, T1, T69. Dovahkiin is the name I want to say. Maybe Dovahkiin will be the player of the Object 416. But that will be the last pick of these two guys' picks, so we'll have to see if they actually manage to pick that one or if they're going to shy away from it.
I've got to ask you a question. As you said, there has been a little bit of a nerf that has affected the T69. Is there any viable replacement in a map like Prokhorovka? Because it's such, a typical tank we're seeing time and time again. It has its roles, normally, together with the other T69, the two go back and forth. Is there anything that could possibly take its place now?
Yeah. Well, not wanting to go too deep into the whole reason why these tanks are picked, but there's basically two simple reasons why teams pick tanks, the tanks they pick. There's even because they're insane and they're just so a class above their rest than the other tanks of tier 8 in this game that they have to be picked because they're that good. Or two, they're specific as something. Like the T32 isn't as good as the 5100 in most respects, but it's got the turret armor to deal for specific situations like on the hill and mines. So those are like the two reasons why you pick it. So I honestly don't think there is a tank that really fits the role of the T69 so well. It has the turret armor and the hold down ability, but also that firepower. It's just the most perfect tank. But yeah, that's the AMX-3090's ×2 being picked at Team WD. AMX-3090 T69 for moreWot. Last pick from both teams will be AMX-3090, making it a triple AMX-3090, double T69, double T1. Completely bog standard lineup. We haven't seen that so much this season. Teams have been switching up a little bit. But these two teams, obviously, especially Team WD, don't want to be throwing anything.
Oh, yeah, obviously they are on match point, essentially, right now. If they lose this map, it'll be 3-0 to a team that they've never actually lost to officially in Season 2, which is something you don't want to be doing. So let me just tell them that they can count down when ready from 15. There we go. So I'm not sure what to make of this. I'm only hoping that Team WD can really turn it around here, because this is their real chance to do it. So let's get you an introduction video towards what you might be seeing in Prokhorovka.
Prokhorovka, a large map at 1,000 by 1,000 meters which allows teams to stretch their legs and artillery to test their skills. There are three primary routes of attack: over the left tree road, the middle area and towards the town. The tree road is very open and flat but has a very large number of bushes and trees that provide good cover if you're not shooting. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. Both teams are fairly symmetrical and only offer small hills and brushes as cover. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. The railroad that splits the map has a large number of bushes running alongside it that provides good cover and the occasional route of attack in the village and hill area. Teams should look towards taking fast tanks and artillery as they complement each other on this expansive map.
So, welcome into the third map, ladies and gents. It will be Prokhorovka, one of those really open-areaed maps where we can see some beautiful variation coming out. Currently, 2-0 is the scoreline for moreWot DE. But what are we seeing so far here from these guys?
So, Team WD going straight up the middle. We didn't expect anything less from them. Duggars has gone to the left, 505 to the right. Mekizio, Mr. Chef, and those T69s taking the cover from behind. On the side of moreWot, doing pretty similar. They've put the AMX-3090s into the middle, but they're quite segmented from the rest of the firepower, which is in the form of the T69s, right towards that tree road area. So if a loser doesn't be careful, he could be in serious trouble from 505 and Mr. Chef, as well as Mekizio. But can Team WD see this? Because if they do, he's out of here.
Yeah, indeed. You can't put yourself in positions like this. And, well, he's going to start feeling the damage of that. He has already received one shell. He's down to 8, 6, 7. He needs that cover and fire and quickly. Douglas has kind of cottoned onto the idea. You can see the rest of the moreWot DE side trying to get themselves round there, but Loser is going down low. 3, 5, 7. He can go down in 1 or 2 more shells. All he needs is a little bit more focus. You see, the rest of the team now has got eyes towards Douglas. They have picked up that T1. Further fire is coming in from that village section. 505 being spotted out there as he backs away. He's actually going to come around towards the Loser. He's going to be, just about getting away from that shell then. And I don't know how this man's still alive, and neither does he. 113 left towards him. 1 more shell, and he is out of there. So that was that little bit of an exchange that just should never have happened like that.
No way. He shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been segregated. We called it. He would go down if Team WD saw it. They have the vision. They saw it, and they executed, and they managed to take him down. No problem at all. But now, moreWot have a decent position. They have most of their tanks together. They can get some good focus fire, which they have done so far. 505 down to 453. Doug is down to 855, as well as Mr. Chef taking a shell. He is down to 115. So both teams pretty damaged up. Nicholas Black is also on the retreat. But at the moment, in terms of HP, Team WD have the advantage. They have obviously the tier 8 tank down again. So I think they just need to capitalize that and push forwards.
Well, we're going to see if they can muster something together, because QQ and Iceman were dealing some real good damage towards Mr. Chef, Douglas, and co. I think it was Marquezio there who's received another shell. So they're all sitting fairly low. Team WD are actually moving in on this. They're going to try and put the pressure towards those T69s. Wu is not too far away, though, so maybe he can get some covering fire down. These guys need to really kind of get themselves together into this if Team WD do actually fold onto them here.
Yeah, they need to be careful, though. They need to take it one step at a time. Don't want to be using those 3090s, which are down to pretty low health so quickly. Mr. Chef's obviously a fantastic sniper, so he'll be the reliable damage in the background. But they have to use the 3090s right, and I think Iceman will have no problem at all making those 2 shells. And Douglas is a 2-shot as well as 505, unless he gets extremely lucky. So he's got to be careful. But so do moreWot. And I think Nicholas Black is also the playmaker. He has been the playmaker so far, but he's in trouble.
Yeah, you say that. Sish is only on 100 HP, and there we go. Nicholas has landed the shot. Wu comes quick toward, so the exchange going down, leaving it fairly close, but no one wanting to push from this. You can see Team WD really just over that hill. The shells are flying. 505 has at least caught a glimpse of Wu there. Got him down to 92 HP. Marquezio has fallen down to QQ, and Team WD are really putting the pressure onto moreWot. Mr. Chef takes out Iceman. Now leaving only 2 standing. Wu is in a world of trouble. Even GGs are being said from Sish there. And now Wu with 92 HP. It's a matter of time before the rest of the Team WD boys do find him. And this is the turning point they desperately needed. They could not allow another map to get away from them. 505 getting himself in there. That shell would connect nice and easily. And now only Neo stands. And as good as he may be at dodging bullets, I do not think we're going to be seeing him getting out of that one.
He certainly won't, but that was a good blind shot by 505 there, taking finally down Wustenfuch, the last AMX 3090. And I think after that initial engagement, it was pretty much all over for moreWot, just because that 3090 was kind of segregated. And I did say, you know, the team lacks a little bit of synergy when it comes to the kind of light tank plays. They had a good starting strategy, which is a scout over, which Team WD did as well, but from that point onwards, Team WD had the plan, and the plan was just to find the weakness, which is what you should be doing anyway as a team. It's always what you should be doing, and they found the weakness, and they saw it within 30 seconds. They pushed onto it, and I think that's good to see, just because some teams are a little bit more cautious. They see it and they're like, oh, will there be tanks there?
Do we want to make this happen?
We might get Amarak, you know, there might be an apocalypse on the way to there. Seriously, this is what happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, not Team WD, they're brave guys, capitalizing on it and just making it win. But generally, moreWot plans, he could have come back from that. They just had to land a little bit more shells. And I think some of their positions are a little bit questionable, and they allow themselves to get surrounded, which is not what you should be doing for North. You should be getting...
By all accounts.
Exactly. You should be getting the kind of map control, at least 2/3 of the map. From the south, you're definitely playing from the back foot in that respect. But
yeah, I've got to say it though, even just the individual play that came out from Team WD there, like Nicholas Black really took the initiative, did clear up any tanks that may be able to, you know, actually surround them, or, you know, kind of undo the push that they were willing to do. Because bear in mind, that could have been game over for them. 3 maps in a row will be GG pretty much. That means they've got the victory at the very least. So they managed to muster themselves together and actually go for an advance when they were on such a pivotal moment. So really impressive stuff coming out from them. I've got to give credit where it's due. To be able to do that in a hard-fought situation, absolutely perfect stuff. And we will be going to steps next. Now, open map again, fairly similar to Prokhorovka in essence, in certain aspects. Do you think this should be, by all rights, Team WD's map then, or is it down to the execution?
Yeah, I think it always comes down to execution in pretty much any game. I think, honestly, like a newly started team can beat WoT Pro, and it has happened before, or Na'Vi, if they get the execution right. But it's about consistency in this game, and I think Team WD are at least 15% better. They were 15-20% better on Prokhorovka, and as you said, Steps is a very similar map to Prokhorovka. It's open. There's a little bit cover here and there. It's very polarized. You have the trench side to the right, you have the rock side to the left, and you have the kind of base areas which are fairly well protected. I guess that's the only difference in Prokhorovka. You have no protection around the base area. But I think generally the game style is going to suit Team WD, and I think they're going to be the better team here. So tank picking has started. T1 AMX 3090 from Sich, the team captain of moreWot, and Mr. Chef going for that double T1 to start with, getting those 2 tanks out of the way. T1, T69 from moreWot. That will be replied by Mr. Chef, taking a double T69 lineup. And I honestly think these teams are going to go for the same lineup as Prokhorovka, triple AMX 3090, double T69. I think Team WD looks confident with that. moreWot looked a little bit more shaky. Maybe they'll switch it up and think, okay, we didn't do so well that lineup. Let's replace the AMX 3090 with an Object 416 or perhaps a WZ132. Depends. That WZ132 has also had a penetration. Well, its penetration's already bad, full stop. AMX 3090 T69 from Sich. That'll be their standard picks, to be honest, and the second to last pick from Team WD will probably be the same, or double AMX 3090 at least. But yeah, I gave Team WD as the more likely to win. You're probably going to be around the same opinion, I guess.
I think on the last map, if they're willing to take, the risk to actually execute and push in, I can't not give them a little bit of credit going into this one.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. I think anyone would do that. But again, it's the execution, and Steps is always a hard one to play. It's not the most played map. It was played in Go4 through 2012. It kind of got dropped for a little bit. It's come back in Season 2 of the Pro League. It wasn't in Season 1, replacing Airfield. So it's still a map that I haven't really seen. Even the WoT Pro is a team digging this mouse sports. I haven't seen them break the meta on it. So it's still going to be interesting. Double AMX 3090 from Team WD. Last pick from moreWot will be the AMX 3090 as well, and that will be the same for Team WD. So triple AMX 3090, double T9, double T1. Same lineup of Prokhorovka from both teams here. And pretty much going to be the same kind of play style at least. But this time around, moreWot unlikely to kind of send one of their tanks out on a limb. I think there'll be a lot more Wolfpacky, especially with those 3 AMX 3090s. Those T69s just there to back them up.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see how that one unfolds. Currently, the scoreline is 2-1, still in favor to moreDE. So, with that in mind, let's get you an introduction video towards Steps.
Steps is the other open map in the map pool, being 1000 by 1000, having no urban areas. There are 3 primary routes of attack: the trench, the rocky area to the left, and the middle road. The road offers direct routes to the enemy's base, but despite having a staggering amount of cover along the way, you are vulnerable to attack from all sides. The trench area provides for great engagements as it's only a few hills and rocks to cover the teams. Most of the engagements occur around this rock, the winner of which gains a crucial foothold on the map. The rocky left area provides the most cover for attacking and defending teams. It's essential that you pick tanks that can traverse from one side of the map to the other rapidly. They also must be able to get to the various key locations as quickly as possible. That is the key to victory.
So, welcome into the 4th map. In the south, in blue, it will be Team WD currently clawing back at this game, facing off against the gold and yellow, moreDE starting in the north. So what are we seeing so far?
So a bit of a gamble from Team WD. Pushing towards the trench side from the south is always a bit of a risk. And moreWot Planetary doing what you would expect them to do from the north. That is going straight towards the trench. And I think Team WD hasn't paid off for them too well. Douglas is down to 8-7, 8 just because those T69 haven't managed to connect the shell. But now Iceman and QQ jumping the gun a little bit and getting paid back for 877 left on him. I think Mr. Chef is going to capitalize on that one.
Yeah, he might as well right now. Mr. Chef is peering up the T1, trying to do any sort of damage. Doug is pushing straight in. QQ going low. He gets taken out by moreWot. And now Iceman is the next target. But there's the reply. Loser absolutely smashing. Doug is out of the ballpark. Mr. Chef coming back in on that T1, who was just pestering the rest of them. Iceman trying to get around onto moreWot, but lovely maneuvering from him. And now actually moreD could be in trouble here. Mr. Chef goes low though, 95 HP. Wu just about staying alive as he did take him down. 505 the next target. 114 left towards him, and there we go. This is looking like it's going to be real trouble for moreD as only 2 tanks of damage dealing stature stand. Siege still alive, trying to challenge moreWot now. 1v1 in this. Loser coming around to try and help him out. Ooh, moreWot's just behind him. And it's just about that reload time now. You can see moreWot there. Where is that tank behind him as well? I'm not too sure who else is left. It must be 505 in that T69. And these guys know they've got the time just to get away here. But it's dangerous, dangerous situations. Oh, vital shot comes through. And it does miss. The second will land onto Siege though. 444, misses the third. That is just about giving him enough time to get away, find cover, and try and readjust.
Yeah, it's just going to be about readjusting. It's just going to be out the reload. moreWot having to get out of that after some fantastic sniping. But in terms of tank lineup, I would say Team WD have the advantage. 25-second reload to about the 33, 38-second reload, depending on what kind of crew skills and perks you have. Obviously, these teams will have all 9, depending on the tank as well. And there's so many factors to take into the equation, but you can't argue about the 10 seconds plus reload the T69 will have in terms of advantage against moreWot. And obviously, both of the AMX 1390s are pretty much a one-shot. Well, one of them is it will just about survive. The other one will easily be able to get taken down. About 1,000 damage burst coming from the 250 average damage of that T179 going on the T69. The F3 can pump out 1,440, but it's harder to connect those 6 shells from the autoloader. So, and obviously has a longer reload, so it's going to be more skill. But these T1s are kind of clustered together, which is a very bad move. A loser will take him down, but can David distract him for long enough?
Yeah, and smart play from Loser. They're not even wasting a shell. He has wasted that one, but trying to play smart here. Oh, he's missed too. This is not how you want to be dealing with a T1. There we go. Finally takes it down on the 3rd shot. So bringing it back to this kind of even 2v2 situation. It's pretty much Siege and Loser up against 505 and moreWot. The final T1 from Neo, not really in the position to make much happen, but it does seem as though Team WD are beginning to make their move. Loser is kind of trying to wait to be that pivotal point. Siege is in trouble now. moreWot's flying around to try and get towards him. He might just be able to get that damage down. Oh, he's missed the shot he needed to land. moreWot going low. 156. Siege is just about alive. Oh, he gets taken down by moreWot. Loser needs to take him out, and just about now, leaving this 1v1, ignoring Neo alive. Loser has to get 5 here if he wants to actually have a chance in this. Up against that T69, he's not in the best situation in the world. He's going to back away, try and find a different position to challenge, and not too far away is the firepower of that 505 in that T69. Loser left on 781. Neo trying to sit out and try and play the smart way and do anything he can in that T1. And now this is a hard situation. With all the luck in the world, Loser has to fight so hard for this and go absolutely huge for his team. 505 peering back up. Neo spotting him out. Loser coming across, just playing it smart, trying to use the deflate of the hill to get around him. Neo lets a couple of shells off, no connections. Loser still dancing around. 5 minutes and 30 left on the board. I'm not sure if Loser's actually got around the back of him. He might have done for just a second. He could at least get maybe 1 free shot off on this. And let's see if it's going to pay off. He's hot on his heels. Neo just trying to test the water before he challenges. No such luck to come from this one too easily, just as of yet. You can see that that T69 is making its way out of there. There's the reappearance, though. He's at least spotted Neo. Will he expect Loser to be so close? Neo now going in, trying to at least take some damage down and try and do something. 505 does find him 1v1 now. Loser coming in. Might have a chance here. 1 connection, 852. But can he get the follow-up? He needs it. He's got it. 606. It's just about in moreD's favor in this situation now. He gets the following shot. 298 damage dealt. Loser, you need this right now. 45 HP left on the 505, and he's done it! He's got 5 kills! That was absolutely insane from moreD. And Loser, you absolute beast. Oh my god.
He's a winner, man.
Wow.
He's a winner. That was...
oh my god. 2.8k damage in a 1390.
What can I say? I mean, that was...
Wow.
We were talking about okay, more Planet Key don't have that playmaker.
I think they just found one.
I think that's completely wrong. Once again, commentators curse, just showing us that they have a complete playmaker.
Wow.
We haven't seen 5 kills in a long time. I think Pneumotia was the last one on Prokhorovka, so that was really good.
That was amazing.
It was a situational awareness. It's quite hard to show like how good these guys in terms of the kind of spatial awareness and the situational awareness have. But what the basic crucial move Aluza did was 5 of 5 was going forwards. The T1 from the Oni Neo, I think it was,
yep.
He was spotting out, making sure he always had eyes on the T69. That allowed Aluza to basically come round behind him again, using the MX-39's maneuverability. If 5 of 5 was playing hide and seek as a kid, he was rubbish at it because he just drove straight on. He went into the middle of the field, misses his first shot. Second one hit the track of the T1, which was unlucky, fair enough. And then finally connecting the first shot. But that gave Aluza the 38 seconds he needed to reload. He had plenty of damage. He didn't have to worry too much. Connected all the shells he needed to do, 5 kills. It was fantastic.
Absolutely astounding. So 3 maps now for moreWot. They have won this one. But it's all about the overall points as well, bear in mind, because towards the later half of this season, if you remember Season 2, it does get extremely close points-wise. So you've got to get as many wins under your belt, as many rounds in, because, you know, various options will add up to how they finish and, you know, the seeding and all of this kind of stuff comes into the matter. So they will be playing out another map. It will be Mines. Now, I'm finding it hard to get over what Loser did then, because that was absolutely incredible stuff. But I've got to say, on this map, I'm not sure where to put my money towards it because we've just... The confidence that moreWot must have now is going to be through the roof. So it's hard to predict how they're going to challenge on a map, no matter if it is favoured against them or for them. But let's go into tag picks. You can take us through what you think actually, you know, this map may favour. So
double T1 to start us with on this map. Obviously, this is Mines, one of my favourite maps, but definitely one of the harder maps to play. And I think that's why teams have been shying away from it a little bit throughout this season. And last season, it's definitely a map that likes the Bisons. The Sturmpanzer 1, the Sturmpanzer 2 Bison, which obviously have been nerfed in 8.6, I believe. So they're not being used, making the map a lot harder to play and a lot more unreadable for the teams. T1 AMX 1390 from moreWot Planet Key. That's their first pick. As you said, they're going to be confident going this one. They've beaten their arch rivals in Season 2 with quite some style, even on steps where they were definitely at a disadvantage in many respects, especially when it came to that AMX 1390 T69 against the double AMX 1390s. You would have expected the T69 to kind of come out on top if it was played correctly. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Mr. Chef, double AMX 1390, T1 T69 from Sich, double T69 from Team WD. And looking towards the second to last pick from moreWot. So at the moment, both teams going for pretty much the same lineup. I think it's going to be the triple MX 1390, double T69, double T1. The standard pick, I guess, on these kind of maps, the most reliable pick. Hopefully, it's going to be shaked up a little bit in terms of tank lineups towards 8.9. It depends what kind of balance changes Wargaming does to the game. And obviously looking towards that 9.0 patch as well, which should be, I don't know when it's coming, to be honest. If anyone's got any guess, do let Melly know when you think 9.0 is going to come this year or next year. T69 from Team WD is their last pick, and looking towards moreWot as well. I think they're going to pick the same T69, but I honestly think Team WD probably have the advantage here. I did say that on steps, but they just didn't manage to collapse on, didn't manage to do what they normally do and be the reliable team. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. They've already lost this one. They're 3-1 back. So it's just going to be about pride, I think. And last pick from moreWot will be the T69 as well. Yeah, so as much as it may be for pride, that confidence boost the moreWot must have now is insane. Already breaking the trend of losing 3-0 to this team and doing it in some real style. And it's just showing the progression of, you know, both sides that I love seeing. It's unreal. It's so hard to predict. It's like on paper, 4th position against 10th. They've lost every single time they've met against them, and it's always been a hard task, and they've always, you know, really struggled, and they turn around and they win the game. It's so hard to predict the season. You're seeing every single team just improving hand over fist, and you're already seeing in the top 3. Hell, WoT Pro aren't first. I think that kind of says it enough that there's certainly teams out there now that are really hot at the big boys' heels, and there's no way to predict it. So I'm just absolutely unbelievable stuff today. So anyway, let's give you an introduction video towards that final map, which will be Mines.
Mines, the original and best World of Tanks 7-on-7 map famed for its incredible tactical opportunities. A small map being 800 by 800 meters. The map has 3 primary routes of attack: the left flank through the water, the middle area, and the town side. The key position on this map is the middle area, as it provides great firing positions and areas of attack for the team that holds it. The middle area's primary entrance is the road passing through the middle of the map. It is essential that the teams take key areas around the hill, both of which are situated just below the hill, the north side and the south side. These locations can provide for some amusing tactics. The hill isn't the only means of attack on mines though. There's also a housing area towards the east side that has a fair few routes of attack and provides great cover for advancing tanks. The water area can be an option for teams, however the soft ground makes it very hard for tanks to traverse rapidly but leads straight to the opponent's base.
So, welcome into the final map here. As we said, it will be mines, and in the north, in that golden yellow, it is moreWot DE. Currently, 3 maps up, sitting on the victory, looking to take the final one just for the sake of it. Facing off against the blue, Team WD in the south. So what are we seeing so far?
So Douglas, unopposed, has got himself onto the hill. Nice play from him, using the MX-3090's speed to its advantage. Mr. Chef is going to come up from behind. I don't think he's going to push up the hill because undoubtedly you'll finally get something connected onto him. So Team WD have the hill advantage, but moreWot planning to keep also pushing their MX-3090s up there. 2 of them using the T69's pretty much its weight just to brute itself up there. So they got 2 MX-3090s in the hill. Mr. Chef knows that moreWot Planet Key is not there. They're going to push on the hill. So they've got an MX-3090, a T69 against 2 MX-3090s.
Up there as well. So
they got
3
T6.
tanks.
Wow, okay. All right. 3. Oh, there's 3 tanks for Team WD as well. These guys are just coming back and forth with what tanks they have on the hill. But honestly, Mr. Chef definitely has, and Team WD definitely have the position advantage. They can push moreWot Planet Key off the hill, and moreWot Planet Key knows it. They know they're there. They know that they probably have to retreat. Otherwise, they'll get themselves completely blown away by that high burst damage from the T69.
Yeah, indeed. So it's going to be a fun one to watch how this plays out. I'm not sure if they've been spotted. Looking at Iceman right now, they are pushing all the way around. They're going to try and pin through Mr. Chef and 505. They look like they're going to be doing it. Iceman in trouble, though. 119, 681. He's going low. He's been tracked as well. QQ staying out beside him. QQ does manage to take down 505, but Nicholas Black did claim Iceman before it. And actually waiting for that kick in from that T69 1390 combo from that boosted position. Siege now pushing in. Wu as well. And there we go. The fire is now coming in. Loser does find Mr. Chef. And Doggett now has to back away. He's in trouble. 8 to 6 HP left. And moreWot DE, their tactical changes have done them absolute wonders. Those 1390s now focusing down Doggett. QQ staying alive in that T69. Wu now looking towards Nicholas Black, using the cover as best he can to try and just exchange and find a way through, get those shells connecting. And it's actually QQ, I believe, coming around. Mercurio's there laying in wait, though. Didn't expect him. He's actually got a reply coming out. Nicholas Black finds a connection towards QQ. Will they expect Siege to be there as well? They have got these guys pinned in now. Wu just going to be peering back and forth. Nicholas Black down to 698. Mercurio 642. They have to back out of here. There's no way they can challenge. Mercurio might outstay his welcome. Left on 136, goes down to Siege. Doug has made his way around, and now it looks like it's going to be moreWot DE making the final push now. Loser, QQ, Siege, and Wu all lining up those turrets, waiting to get those shells connected. He's got another towards Doggett, and now, well, there's at least one reply, but still, it's all still looking like moreWot DE, unless QQ really messes this one up. Wu will claim the kill onto Nicholas Black, and now pretty much it's all on Doggett, and those 3 remaining tanks of firepower dealing damage will now just fold towards him, absolutely flooding down the hill. Doggett is in trouble. He cannot even turn in time, and Wu will find another, picking up 2 already, leaving only that dear T1 standing.
Yeah, no chance at all. But yeah, that was just bad engagement, bad firepower. You can see the kind of morale has gone down from Team WD. At the end of the day, moreWot connected the hill. They both had a hull down situation. moreWot were on top of the hill. Team WD were on the slope going up to the hill. Both had turrets showing, but moreWot just had the presence and they had the clarity of mind just to make those shots count. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And you know, regardless of what Team WD threw at them, which they did, they put a couple of AMX-3090s and T69s there. They just couldn't do much. You know, regardless of the fact that at points, more Planet were definitely out firepower, definitely out HP'd. They just connected the shells, they got the reloads on, and then finally, when they did have the advantage in terms of numbers, they just used that, collapsed on the last tank, and it was game over.
Insane first match, though, guys. That's only the tip of the iceberg that we have lined up for you today, bear in mind. That game did go, I believe, 4-1 in favour of the team that didn't even manage to pick up a single map last season around. So you can already see the adaptation coming through from these guys from week to week. They're just progressing time and time again. And I don't think I would have predicted this result from the very beginning. Not to this extent.
I don't think I would. No.
There's no way. It was absolutely stunning stuff. So our predictions were probably going to be completely wrong. I didn't even want to call this one because I had no idea where this was going, and by all rights, I'd never have gone towards this result. So congratulations to the moreWot side. They've really shown what they're made of this time around, picking up 4 maps to only losing 1 against Team WD, who've always been a talented side. As you said, not quite having their standout moments. They haven't really got to that point where they really shine, but they're certainly a very good bunch of players who just need a little bit more firepower, maybe, or a little bit more kind of, I don't know, a little bit more just magic to their side. They don't have that one playmaker who can go absolutely wild and do real damage. You know what I mean? It just feels it's missing that one kind of spark every now and then. So maybe that's what they can work towards. I don't think they did anything badly this time around. I just think moreWot's tactics were absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I think moreWot just have the passion. They look so driven. I think in terms of the two teams being equally as good, definitely. They're both pretty much the same. But on any given day, they could win, and that's what the Team WD had last season. But this season, you can tell just by the way that moreWot Planet talking. They've been talking to us in Skype and letting us know, and they just look passionate. They just want to go for it. They don't want to be below that top 6 spot going into the Season 3 finals. They want to be there. They want to be competing for the 50,000 euros first place, 100,000 euros grand prize pool, and that shows. That shows at the end of the day. And that's why they won.
Well, let's hope they can keep it up towards the later half of the season as well, because we are still in the early match days. And if they can keep games like this up, they're certainly going to be a contender for those offline finals. But anyway, that's our thoughts aside. Let's bring you back into the social media guru that is Melly. She's just waiting over in the corner to give us updates on any sort of results we've had so far, because I want to know what you guys at home predicted, because we had no idea. So, Melly, what was the overall kind of thoughts towards that one?
Well, the results of the vote... of the poll was pretty close. So with a slight advantage to Team WD, and also our challenge where people have to guess the outcome of the match. It was mostly for Team WD, to be honest.
Wow.
Just in the last, since you guys at home right now are still in the last map, they're changing their minds. Since like 15 minutes.
You can't do that.
But the first ones were pretty clearly rooting for Team WD.
Nice to see an upset. It's not just us who are surprised then.
Exactly.
I like it.
So that's on the voting and betting front. We have a question actually.
Go for it.
On Twitter. So you at home have the possibility, have the chance to ask our 2 experts questions. I like how Pansy always laughs and giggles slyly when I use the term expert. You are an expert, Pansy.
I'm not sure if I'm going to even believe that myself. Like, I
More
wouldn't even
expertise
lie.
than Burbo, I think, definitely.
Wow.
That's what you get for trolling me, man. Shots fired.
Ouch.
Yeah, so fire
You
rate.
were so nice to each other last show. What happened?
Hey, look, I've been staying nice. It's all him. He's like dragging me down. Like, I've been really
once.
pleasant.
Yeah.
God,
So
kids
what's
these
the-
days.
Okay, when it
question?
comes to expertise, Laughter WT, where did he learn his tactics gameplay from? As in what clans and when?
Okay.
What is your history?
Basically,
Tell
well,
us.
history
Why
lesson.
should we listen to
Yeah.
you?
I just
is what's
turned up.
happening.
I just turned up.
He
I
has
don't
no
know.
idea. He
Yeah.
just leaves like the tank wiki open. He's like, well, yes, that T69 looks great. That one
Right.
looks like it can shoot shells. That's it.
That's pretty much it. I started playing in September 2011 when the game just launched into closed beta. November 24th, 25th, I joined the clan called Pirates after being in Britannia.
Arr.
Everyone knows who Pirates is, who plays World
Arr.
of Tanks. I stayed with them since ever since the whole time, and obviously left when I got this job, so I can't be in that clan anymore. And yeah, I played for C-Trip. If anyone remembers that team, it was amazing team. I loved it. And then I played for Odin Mortis. I played for the Red Rush. I played for now Natus Vincere, if that's how you pronounce the name. Sorry if I just got it wrong.
Just call him Navi.
Yeah,
don't
Navi.
worry.
Yeah. So yeah, I played for Odin Mortis. I played for those guys. I played for Red Rush. I played for C-Trip, and I played for all the teams. The Pirates teams that did the Wargame.net League. First player in Europe to get the All-Star medal for Europe. Yeah, etc., etc. That's why you should listen to me.
All right,
Just,
Jesus. Shut up, Ollie. God.
Yeah.
Well, people ask.
Don't ask him questions like that
Exactly, yeah,
again.
good ask.
His ego's now like really bigger in this room. Look what he's
Just
done.
pushing her away, my ego.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. A few more other
Yeah.
things, but I won't mention them.
Oh, thank you.
We'll ask you about that later.
Please don't.
Yeah. Might not be appropriate.
Save us.
Well, thank you for the question. If you have any more, just keep them coming via Twitter by the use of hashtag WoT Pro League. And also check out Facebook, because the next challenge, the place where you can hand in your predictions, will be online in a few minutes. And that's all so far. Join me on the Twitch chat. We're having a great conversation there. And yeah, good luck for winning the bonus codes.
Well, you heard it from Melly herself. Get involved, get ready for that next pod to come up to get your predictions ready. And the game that will be coming up just after the break, if I can use my words, will be Spale up against Odin Mortis. So it's going to be a real grudge battle between two of the community's favourites as well. So do stay tuned and do stick around for that one, because we will be back in just about 5 minutes.